if I'd not chosen to become an actress, what else would you have liked to do? I'd like to have a couple of lives, I think, after this one, in which I would be a chef, and in one I would like to be in the diplomatic corps and be multilingual, and in another I would maybe work for Médecins Sans Frontières, or work for some organization that gives legitimate and profound relief to other countries. And in another lifetime, maybe an adventurer. And what else? A musician, a rock star. I think you have to have one lifetime where you're a rock star. And I did come from a musical background. So, but I think in this lifetime so far, I'm definitely destined to be an actress. And we'll see what happens in the second half of my life. I'll be very interested to see if I'm still acting in 20 years' time. Or maybe in 1 year's time. I'm unemployed. What am I talking about? I'll be interested to see if I'm acting next year. Outside of Stargate, do you have any other projects professionally? I was in an interesting situation in London last year before I relocated to Vancouver. I was asked to help develop some projects, so the producing aspect was interesting to me. And now, of course, now that I'm out of a job next year, I've definitely been thinking about some concepts for two TV shows in particular and a film that I'd like to make. So I'll be probably doing some meetings this year and next year about those. And I mean, I think nowadays, especially in Australia, the industry is very quiet, and so all the artists there have to create their own opportunities. So I'm going to have to hone my skills now and become a better writer, and polish up some of those skills, my producing skills. I have to find a mentor probably, and start learning more about things behind the camera. It's very sad news about Stargate being cancelled, the series being cancelled. I know there's been discussions about movies and, whether it's theatrical movies or TV movies. And it's great news that Atlantis continues. And I think that it would be I really feel for everybody on the show because, on Farscape we worked together for 4 or 5 years and we became family, and it's what we knew and it's what we expected every day. So to have done that for 10 years and to hear that will no longer continue, I'm very sad for people that, and maybe they won't realize it until it's gone, but they, the idea of not seeing certain people every day, I think that's very tough. It's hard to get used to, and I think I've learned to not say goodbye in this industry, because there's always that hope that you'll see people again. And if I could say to anyone on the Stargate cast or crew anything, it would be Ben and I worked on Farscape, and then very shortly afterwards we were together again on Stargate. So, the people that are very precious in your life, if you're lucky, you get to reunite with them again, and I can only hope that will happen for them also. And I think, Stargate is in syndication all over the world. I don't think the fans will ever miss the show because they're always going to be able to find it. It's like Seinfeld or any successful show that's had a really long run. The Simpsons. I mean, you can always find The Simpsons on television. I'm not sure about France and Belgium, but they're incredibly popular shows. And so it's in one sense it will be greatly missed, but it's also going to be hard to miss, if you know what I mean. And we're lucky. We have DVDs and we have iPod downloads, and it's not going to be too far away. What's your opinion of a possible romance between Daniel and Vala? Well, I think it would be like an old couple who always fight all of the time. So I think they would be quite miserable together. And I don't know if we should go down that road. I think things are always more funny before they happen, rather than once they've happened. A bit like Moonlighting. And I think that's what they've always tried to reference, was that show, the chemistry between Bruce Willis and Sybil Shepherd. I think once you actually consummate the relationship, something dies. So I think much more energy if they stay away from each other. You have played in a number of sci-fi and fantasy shows and movies. Is that your favorite genre? I always loved science fiction films. Blade Runner, Aliens. That franchise, the Alien franchise, was very, I thought, interesting and exciting. Star Wars. I mean, we grew up with some spectacular science fiction movies when we were kids, and I thought, Terminator. I was always very impressed by Sigourney Weaver and Linda Hamilton. I thought they played their characters beautifully, and they presented these images of very strong women, and I hadn't really seen that before. And as a young, burgeoning sort of feminist, I thought they were interesting role models. And so, as an actress, as I became, gradually was getting more work, and I became a professional actress, I aspired to one day playing a role as they had. And the opportunities came in the form of Erin on Farscape, and in a way Vala on Stargate SG-1. And so in that sense, I think that science fiction has, when they write strong women, they hold their own against the men. They also are fighting battles, and they, just as the real female soldiers do in our armies these days, feminism has gone a long way to changing the roles that women play in real life, let alone on, film and television. Are there major differences working in Australia as opposed to Canada? I think that there's actually quite a few similarities. I think that Australian crews work very hard, very long hours. They don't have the strength of the union of, Screen Actors Guild in America, and it's the same in Canada. So people are expected to work harder and longer hours sometimes. I mean, that's not to say that people don't work hard in America, but we just don't have the same guidelines and the same rules. But they, as a people, I think Canadians have a lot in common with Australians. They have a good sense of humour and a very positive attitude. And I've not yet worked in America, so I can't make a comparison there. But I like everyone works as a team. Very, very kind people here, I found, in Canada as well. Well, we were actually living in London before we relocated, and London's very busy, very difficult city to live in sometimes. I really miss it, I do. I had a great time in London when I was there, but I think that the beauty, the natural beauty of this city here in Vancouver is phenomenal, and